Hello the internet, my name's Lar, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a new YouTube tag that I got tagged in. I got tagged in, technically, I was watching this video that Steph Hall did and she said everybody is tagged on this tag, and since she has commented on my videos before, I decided, sure, I count as everybody. And I really like doing these tags, the answering question thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Okay, so we are gonna jump right into this. It is called apparently the Juicy Plant Tuber tag. I'm not sure why it's juicy, but I'm sure coming up with names for these things isn't all that easy, so we're just going to go with it. Okay, number 1. What are the 3 most expensive plants you own? What were their prices, and do you have any regrets? 3 most expensive plants I own. Well, I know that my philodendron silver sword is the most expensive plant that I own. Technically, I spent $40 on that plus shipping, so that the shipping was included in that. And that is definitely the most expensive plant, but I bought it for myself for my birthday, so there's that. Yeah, no, I have a whole bunch of plants, now that I'm looking around, I have a whole bunch of plants that are around the $15 mark. Like I have my Macayana was like 15 or somewhere around there. The Crimson Princess, I think, was around that. Maybe that one was only 12. The 2 begonias that I got from Steve's Leaves were $15 plus shipping. I guess I don't really spend all that much on plants, so in the grand scheme of things, I mean, the Alsobia might have been, no, I think that was 10. I think the Alsobia was 10. So yeah, $10 to $15 is technically where most of my plants come in at. So besides the philodendron silver sword that I very specifically spent that much on, I don't have any that are that expensive that are not just I spent $15 on a whole bunch of plants. So not exactly the best of answers for that question, I guess, but yeah, most of them I don't tend to spend very much on plants. The $40 that I spent on the silver sword, I do not regret it. It is an absolutely gorgeous plant. I guess I could pull it down so you guys can see. It's only put out 1 new leaf, but it's working on a second one. But that 1 leaf is just, yeah. This leaf here is the newest one that I got since I bought it, and it just, the color is just fantastic. And the other leaves all have some damage on them. They've got some, I don't know, they have some damage on them, but they're also still very beautiful. And then there's this tiny little one here. I don't know what happened, but he only grew that big, and I think he's adorable. But this plant is super happy, super healthy. And like I said, there's another leaf getting ready to grow out here. So I'm happy with this plant. I'm sure I would have been happy if I had gotten it for cheaper, but I do not think that I'm not unhappy with the amount that I paid for it. But I'm not unhappy with the amount that I paid for it because it's a really nice plant, and I likely would not have been able to get it otherwise, so yeah. Okay, so that was question number 1. Question number 2, what is the most you would spend on a plant? Interesting question. I guess it really depends on the plant and how long I've been looking for it. I really would kind of like a couple of plants that are more pricey, but I'm not willing to spend all that much. Like, I spent $40 on the philodendron silver sword, and that was like a really big splurge for me. Not that I couldn't spend more on plants, but I really don't want to. So let's just say $50. $50 is like really my limit. I'm not saying I'd never go over that, but I definitely would have to have a good reason why I'm spending that much on a plant. So, $50. Number 3, has your plant collection ever caused issues in your relationships? If yes, please explain. I guess it depends on what you would consider an issue. When I first started collecting plants, and I started this YouTube channel right around the same time that I started collecting plants, and I know my husband was a little bit, he was unsure because I went out and started getting a whole bunch of plants, and he thought that that trend of acquiring plants was going to continue. And it really was kind of like up and then it tapered off a little bit. And so there was a little bit of nervousness on his part that he expressed to me that I was going to be spending too much money on plants. But it was never like I absolutely understood where he was coming from, you know, and I wasn't planning on going out and buying a whole bunch of things. There's been a couple of times where I'm like, oh my God, I have to have this plant. And I've come home with a plant and he's been like, really? But at the same time, when I started doing this YouTube channel, he also came to me and told me how proud he was of me for putting myself out there on the internet and keeping up my update schedule, because I think I've missed like, of my planned videos, I think I've missed like one, like since I started with this actual schedule. And so he's expressed that he's really proud of me for doing that and proud of me for keeping up with all of this. And so, I mean, there were a few little hiccups, but definitely not issues. So I guess I explained even though the answer was technically no. No, that was 3. This is 4. Has owning plants interfered with your travel plans? We have not gone on any long vacations since I started getting plants that need a little bit more care. We are planning a vacation coming up in May where I'm actually going to have to look at the plants that I have and figure out if I'm going to have, because we have people who I have that can come over and take care of them, but I'm going to have to decide if I want to have them do that, because when we go to Williamsburg every year, and we take our cats with us, so nobody has to come and take care of our cats. So they technically would be coming over to water plants. We're not going to not go, but I'm definitely going to have to consider if there are any plants that are going to need care while I'm gone, and possibly have somebody come over and take care of them. I might be talking to you, Laura. I know you have a baby, but I might be talking to you. So anyway, not yet, hopefully never, because I like going on vacation, but we never really go on anything longer than a week anyway. And I mean, there's a couple plants, like some of the begonias probably can't make it that long without being watered, but I'm pretty sure I can take care of that. So, number 5, have you killed a plant intentionally? Yes. It doesn't say why, but I'm going to explain why anyway. There have definitely been plants that I've had in the past where either they've gone on a decline and I'm just like, I give up on this because I really don't know what to do, or they've gone on a decline and I've been like, I don't even care about you anymore, you no longer spark joy, so I'm just going to get rid of you, you know, you're just going to kind of die over there. For the most part, usually, like, I almost never, I want to say that I've never done it with a healthy plant. The closest I've probably ever come to doing it was this guy here, where he kind of grew, and then I just, like, literally stopped watering him. And then he continued to live and continued to live and continued to live. And due to his amazing will to live, I started watering him again and gave him an upgraded pot and even tied him up to try and tame some of this. He got mealybugs and I treated them. So he's really kind of the ugliest plant that I have that I am the most proud of. Because he just refused to die, and his tenacity encouraged me to actually come back and start caring for him again. So I am at some point going to get him a bigger pot, and I might try and control that a little bit, but we'll see. 6. The most stressful part about owning plants. I guess, what is the most stressful part about owning plants? The most stressful part to me about owning plants is when I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. Like if I get one and it kind of starts going downhill and I'm like, oh my God, should I water it more? Should I water it less? Does it need different soil? Does it need, fertilizer? Like, what am I? So yeah, most stressful part is not knowing how to take care of a plant. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with watering and having to be on a schedule for watering, but for the most part, I don't have anything that's so sensitive that if I miss it for a couple of days, it's going to just completely die. Even my begonias, I had my taconite the other day. I walked down here and it had the taconite that I just got from Steve's Leaves. Isn't that gorgeous? Look how big that plant is. And I came down and all of these leaves had like bent and were just like down on the ground. And obviously it needed to be watered, and so I watered it, and then it perked back up. And if I hadn't come down that day, I feel like it still would have been fine. But, I mean, that's really the worst that happens, is that I come in and it's, some of my plants are a little limp, and then I water them, and they're okay. So, wiggle, wiggle. Yeah, sorry. Rolly chair. Needs to do room position. If you were only allowed to have 3 plants in your collection, which ones would they be? I've given this one some thought because of, I saw it on Steph Hall's channel, and I was actually like, what would I actually choose? And it really came down to, number 1, my philodendron silver sword. Not only because I paid a lot for it, but because it's just so gosh darn pretty. Dang it, I did have answers for this. Oh, my begonia breakdance. Very obviously. Not getting rid of that plant. It's not going to happen. What was the other one? I think it was actually my begonia lucerna, because my mother gave that to me, or my mother gave me the cuttings, and I've turned that into a really nice plant. So, philodendron silver sword and 2 begonias, begonia breakdance and begonia lucerna, one of which is a rhizoma, that word, begonia, and a cane begonia. And obviously, that's not ever going to happen. I'm never going to have to cut down to 3 plants. Even if we moved and my husband was like, you need to cut down your plant collection, I would definitely get to choose more than 3 plants. So, I don't know. If I ended up having to cut my collection by a lot, I feel like A lot of the ones I would get rid of would be succulents. I wouldn't get rid of all my succulents, obviously, but like, just because succulents tend to be so small, you know, like, yeah, really, they just tend to be so small. Nah, you know what, there are definitely some succulents I would keep. I have no idea what I would do if we had to move to a smaller place and my husband told me that I had to get rid of some of the plants. It's very possible that I would just find space for the plants anyway. I mean, there are some that I could probably get rid of. I mean, like, I love this lavender scallops. It's very beautiful, but like, in the grand scheme of things, I'd let it go as not. But anyway, that's a video for another time. What plants would you get rid of? I think that might be a different YouTuber tag. I'm not sure. What's your opinion on the rare plant type? I kind of went back and forth on how much detail I was going to go into on this question. Mostly because I don't really have a big platform, and so it's not like anybody's really going to see this opinion anyway. I'm just kind of throwing my opinion out there into the internet. But I guess that's really what I'm doing anyway. So my opinion on the rare plant hype is, it's not that I think it's a bad thing. I think that sometimes when people get really obsessed with something, it happens because there is a hole in their life somewhere. Like we're all kind of like, oh, we're having a bad day and I went and got a plant. And to a certain extent, that's fine. Like, I have all these plants. I have a lot of plants. And they do fill a certain space in my life. But when you get to a point where you're buying a plant that's costing over $100 because you're buying a plant that's over $100 because other people are so excited about it that you just get caught up in that and you do it without really thinking, it's probably a good idea to stop and ask yourself what part of your life that's filling. Because, I mean, for me, I get the same amount of joy out of a $10, $12 plant that I do out of my $40 plant, you know. And I got that $40 plant because I really did want that particular plant. But, I mean, I've got that wandering dude, the Tridescanthia zebrina that my mother gave me, and she gave me a cutting of it, and I almost killed it all over the years, and now it's this huge, huge basket. I'm not sure if I've shown this thing to you guys recently. Like, this plant literally has cost me nothing but time and energy, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I get so much joy out of seeing this plant. And it doesn't cost me a whole bunch of money. It doesn't cost me any, like, it's not hard to take care of, you know. It's like, so the rare plant hype, is I almost look at it as, you know, why? What are you getting out of getting those plants that you're not getting elsewhere? And I've been tempted. I certainly have been tempted to get plants because other people were, you know, going crazy and gaga over them. And then when I stopped and actually thought about it, I was like, but I don't really like this plant. So, I don't know. That was kind of a long answer. I don't know. Have you ever purchased a plant just because it was trending, that you don't like it that much? Like I said, I came close before. I think the closest I ever came was a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I saw one when I was at the nursery up in Maryland, and I don't even like the plant, and I was like, well, maybe I should get that, and then, I could sell cuttings of it or whatever. And then I was like, but I don't like the plant. I really would like a Thai constellation, but the price tag on that is just way too high. And I'd like to say that that's not because of all of the hype. I just like the way those look. But I don't think I've ever bought a plant because it was super popular. I mean, now I have plants where I saw people have them and then I fell in love with them, like the Philodendron Prince of Orange. I was like, that's kind of a weird looking plant. And then the more I saw it in videos, I was like, but that color is just so gorgeous, and now I have one. And I'm waiting for that. It's got a leaf that's been trying to come out forever, and I want to see it because of the color. But not ever any of the super rare plants. I've never bought them, nor have I. I think I've been asked this question before too. I don't think I have any plants that I regret buying. That I bought separately. Like there's some succulents where like I got a container and there were a whole bunch of ones in there where I'm kind of like, I don't care about this succulent or whatever, but I keep it alive because it's in my care, and maybe it'll turn into a nice arrangement someday. But yeah, no, for the most part, if I go out and actually buy a plant, I have been happy with that purchase afterward, and fairly continuously. I know, I always look around while I'm doing this because I'm trying to jog my memory if there's any of them that I'm, okay, sorry I got distracted. Do you think having a plant collection is bad for the environment? I don't remember her answering this question. Do you think having a plant collection is bad for the environment? Bad for the environment how? Are we talking about the amount of water that it takes for me to water these, or the soil? I have heard that sphagnum moss is harvested unsustainably from like Canada or something like that. So I guess that, and unfortunately I love sphagnum moss a lot, so that I guess is kind of bad for the environment. I guess the only other thing that I could think of them talking about is that like people going out and like ravaging the countryside and getting plants in order to sell, but truthfully I don't think I have any of those anyway. I feel like those are the more rare aroids, the plants that you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars for, because otherwise it's just not worth it. So I don't think it's any worse than anything else for the environment. So I guess that's my answer. Living in this house is bad for the environment, so what are you going to do? How much would someone have to pay you to kill your favorite plant? Interesting. I mean, for the most part, first off, the difficulty in that would be which is my favorite plant. Secondly, it would come down to how easily I think I could replace that plant. And thirdly, we're talking at least $1,000 just for replacement cost and annoyance. I mean, we're assuming this is completely theoretical because, I don't know, I had this one question one time that somebody asked. They were like, if someone offered you $10,000 for one of your pets, would you sell it to them? And I said yes. Assuming, of course, that the person buying the pet just wanted it to be their pet. And so it was going they were going to get taken care of and like have a good home, like a good healthy home and all that kind of stuff, then sure, I will give up my pet for $10,000. And then there's definitely people who are like, no, I would never give up my pet. They're a member of the family. And I'm more in the camp of there's a price for everything. That price might be high, but maybe this is why I don't have kids. Yeah, I only have fur babies, so. But I mean, if somebody was going to offer me that much, then sure, why not? And, you know, for the plants, it's not as if they have agency or anything like that. They're not sapient. They're just plants. So, I wouldn't mind having $1,000. Okay, so that was the plant tuber tag. I hope you guys had fun listening to my answers. If you like this video, go ahead and like this video. And if you'd like to stick around, go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't checked out my novel, The Law of the Prince Charming, I still have the link for that below. We are almost done with chapter 4 now. So that it's starting to get pretty exciting. And I think my next video is probably going to be that thing that I told you about in the previous video. I needed some more time to gather some data and kind of figure out how it was going to work. I know that makes it sound very mysterious, doesn't it? It's really not that exciting. No, it's super exciting. Come and watch the video. But that will be my next video. Thank you very much for spending some of your valuable time with me today. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.